This is the spindle sander safety test review. This is the spindle sander. Funny how that works. When using the spindle sander, you have to have the dust collector going. To turn on the dust collector, you turn it on here. It's really loud. On the spindle sander, you gotta make sure your fingers are at least 1 inch away from this abrasive material, the sandpaper. Abrasive material is sandpaper. It's technical jargon. You should not wear gloves when using the spindle sander. You should not sand metal on the spindle sander. Metal can put sparks into our dust collection system. If sparks are introduced into our dust collection system, we now have fuel, being sawdust, air, being the air we breathe, oxygen, and we have an ignition source, the sparks. We could have an explosion. Do not sand metal on the spindle sander. Make sure your sleeves are rolled up, jewelry removed, hoodie strings tucked in, hair tied back. This machine does not understand that rings come off this way. It'll take a ring off this way. It will rip your hair out. It will hurt you. Make sure you're observing all safety rules in the shop. This machine rotates this direction. You should always push your material against the feet of the machine so you get feedback. If it's rotating this way and you're pushing the opposite way, it's pushing against you. You have control. If you push your material the same direction, it's gonna get thrown. Always push against the feed of the machine. We can adjust the angle of the table. If you adjust the angle of the table, you need to sand on the lower side. Do not sand on the upper side. If you sand on the upper side, your material can become wedged against the sandpaper. It will become stuck there and then it will get thrown. We always sand on the lower side of the table when it's on an angle. When you're done sanding, turn off the machine and wait for it to come to a complete stop. If you're ever sanding on the inside of something, you need to make sure you have 1 inch clearance. So, if I had a piece of wood that had a hole that big and I sanded it with this, I would want to make sure I had at least 1 inch clearance here. That way my material's not going to get stuck on my sandpaper. Always inspect the sandpaper, make sure it's not torn or damaged.
Mr. Mayor, can you please contact the office?
And Mr. Mayor, please contact the office.